Shalom, 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 shalom. Welcome again to Taking a Deeper Look. How my brothers doing?
All praises.
Yes,
All
sir.
praises, all praises. If we can be heard, please put a 1 in the chat. If we can be heard, please put a 1 in the chat. If we can be heard, please put a 1 in the chat. If we sound crispy and clear, please put a 1 in the chat. All right, see some ones coming. See some ones coming.
Shalom.
All praises, all praises. Well, again, we appreciate you all coming to class. And Benya, if you don't mind.
Oh, indeed. Let's see who we got up in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's see. We got the sister Kia Targaryen, up in the spot in the building. We got Cece. We was talking about y'all earlier today about y'all love. Of course, you know Ant know about the story too. So we was talking about y'all earlier today. He says hi. Paul should be on the way, so sure to be another shout out. But we were talking about y'all and y'all love today.
Oh, great.
Let's see. We got the Brooker, Naeem. My young brother is in the building. I think his wife, I hope, is nearby. If not, maybe she'll be logging in a little later. But the Brookers are in the building. Let's see who we got. Sister Mary for the Great Northwest up in the building. Maybe she come up and join us a little bit. Come in. Y'all see the link in the chat. Yes, here up in there. See the link in the chat. Let's see who else we got up in the building. We got Tasha, Shane with the precepts is on deck. Definitely up in the building. We got Princess Malaysia out in Nevada. Definitely up in the building. Let's see who else is up in this spot. Right now I don't see anybody else at this time, but remember, you come in, please slap a like, wipe your feet off at the door. Feel free to come and join us. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's see, we got a few of us up in here, and we only got one like, oh, okay, I see 5 likes. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you all for coming in and wiping your feet off at the door. Most importantly, I see my brothers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Golden Pipes, the brother with the Golden Pipes.
Shalom.
And my other brother, Moray,
Shalom,
dropping that
shalom.
revelationary knowledge up on us in the building with these college kids they was talking about earlier. What's that all about, fellas? What's that all about? Y'all got college kids? What's that all about?
I know, right?
Going back to school, all this. What's that all about?
Couldn't wait to get out the house.
Man.
Right,
Man,
right.
he got up out of here 5 this morning, man.
5 in the morning going back.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Oh, I'm tripping. Sister Miriam was the first one in the building.
Hey.
I'm dropping the ball. Oh,
Hey, yeah.
Sister Miriam, forgive me. I saw, you know what happened? I went back to my name and I did everybody underneath my name. Sister Miriam was in the building before we was in the building. She unlocked the building. Sorry, man. You ain't never lied, man. You ain't never lied. Brother up here tripping.
Oh man, how you gonna forget the Northwest?
Man, thank you,
Right,
Sister Mary,
right.
for letting me know. Right, Sister Sister Miriam, charge it to my head, not my heart, man. I honestly looked at every name below my name and didn't even first one in the building.
That's
Lord
crazy.
Christ. That's
That's
crazy. Yeah.
Oh well. Again, thank you all for coming to class. Little
Yes,
applause
sir.
for you all. All right. So again, we appreciate you all coming.
Yes.
The link is in the chat if you would like to come up. Basically, I want to have maybe like a 30-minute, maybe 40-minute discussion. The link is in the chat. Please come on stage. We want to talk about the financial crisis in the Black community. Creating opportunities. I want to talk about the financial crisis in the so-called black community.
Mm.
Um, there's many there's many avenues we could take this. Um, we could point fingers. We can put it on the other people. We can put it on government. We can put it on. There's not a shortage of finger pointing
Mm-hmm.
where we could take that. But I want to kind of, if we can, now if we go that route, we go that route. But if we can, what are we doing to further this economic gap between the so-called black community and the other ethnicities around the world? Now we understand there was, if we want to look at it, frame it as a race, we understand that you know everybody shot before we did. If we want to use the lane of slavery, so that portion of it we get,
Mm-hmm.
but in today's society, can we use that as an excuse?
That's a heavy question, my brother.
Can we use slavery as an excuse? Question: is it a crisis or laziness from the 19 pandemic?
This condition was before the pandemic.
Facts.
I think, to her point though, I think me and one of the brothers that I'm out here with, we were talking about this on the ride over to Anthony's house, and we were talking about it from a standpoint of the. I wish, uh, I wish there was. Is that message even recorded? The message about the altars.
Nope.
I,
That was before we started recording.
I wish the first altars message was recorded, because when you talk about us as so-called blacks, we've made the victimization an altar. And so because of that, that thing is exalted greater than the God that's in us. And so understanding that there were factors, we're not going to sit here and ignore those things, but now it gets to a point where we've made the struggle like like an accessory, or something that we necessary that is necessary for us to have, rather than relying on the fact that we're still built to be ambitious, industrious, charismatic type people that we can overcome. And there's enough in us, enough talent for us to be able to do it. We just don't step out and do it.
A lot of times it's fear.
Con.
A lot of times it's fear from a lot of people. They don't. We. I can say this. I was blessed to. I see my father as an entrepreneur. I've seen him do that. I've seen him start an arcade. He had a lawn service. He built houses. He came to LA in '51. He learned a trade. He learned how to build houses and learned how to lay concrete from a Mexican named Red, good friend of the family. In '51, worked on the LA freeways, the freeways you ride. But what I took from him was to listen. I could build my own. A lot of our people have $1 million ideas, but they don't execute them because of fear. We're scared we're gonna fail because we're so secure in the 9 to 5. We're 40 hours a guaranteed paycheck, and we never take a gamble on ourselves. A lot of us have never betted on ourselves. And you sitting there with $1 million idea, you want to holler, you want to holler this and that, but the Most High is giving you things. Being fearful with what He's given us, and we quit after we first start, and we don't see it through. I had to conquer that. I built a $1 million business at one time. I did, and my brothers can testify to that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So, but it takes persistence, prayer, persistence, and confidence in Yah and the ability to give you. A lot of us have it. He said, "Listen, I gave you a talent. Why you bury it?
Mm.
Why you
Mhm.
bury it?" Some of us don't have to be in the positions we are in because, but fear has captivated us,
Yes, sir.
and our job is our way. That's all we know. I yield.
It's a good point. I would say this though, not everyone has been given the ability to be an entrepreneur. When we can go and look in scripture, when they were commissioned to go back and build the temple, um, the spirit of the Most High fell on certain men to do certain things. You
God.
had some
Yes,
that
sir.
were gifted in crafting silver and gold. Some were gifted in sewing and things of that nature.
Mhm.
So I believe that if we can use it as an ability or a gift or a talent to be entrepreneur, that comes from the Most High.
Hello.
Hello? Okay, so I hear you, Sue. Murray, did you? No, he didn't mute up. Hmm. He's about to leave with another question.
Yeah, we'll definitely wait on our brothers. But if y'all got any questions, you got any thoughts about this, please put them in the
Y'all give
chat.
me.
Prayerfully
Oh,
we get
there
to
we
them.
go.
There you
There we
go.
go.
Yeah, I'm having issues. I've been having issues. So hopefully, we switched internet um companies, and I'm having some issues with the connection. So hopefully, I don't get kicked out. Hopefully, I can be heard.
You can be heard now.
All right, all right.
Yes, sir.
So, what I was saying before I got bumped out, um, Sister Tasha said something that I want to kind of walk with. Um, she says, understand, but it's amplified. No one seems to want to work. And I agree with that. And what I would like to add to that is here in America, we've been taught what success looks like.
Mm. Oh,
Have a certain amount of money, or can I be heard?
now
Yeah,
you
you
keep.
be
Yeah,
heard.
you going in and out. Yeah, but go ahead, keep talking.
Hmm. Um, yeah, this is not good. Here in America, we've been taught what success looks like.
Hmm.
And from a male perspective, if we're not carrying that bill of what America calls success, then the women have been conditioned to overlook that brother. Prime example, you can get a young brother that mid 20s, let's say he's working at a fast food joint.
Hmm.
And let's say he has ambition to become a general manager at some point or even own one of these fast food joints. The women have been conditioned for the majority. And now again, I'm talking about our community. For the majority, we've been conditioned to overlook that brother.
Hmm.
Wouldn't give him a time of day, wouldn't give him a phone number, wouldn't give him Instagram, wouldn't give him anything because of the job that he has. Have not said to talk to him, don't know his ambitions.
Hmm.
But the fact that I come in and get a burger and I see you, flipping a burger and you trying to get my number, my Instagram, but the condition that we've been put in, I would like to, if we can speak to that because she says something to me very powerful. No one seems to want to work. Reason being because I have a whole list of some reasons why we don't want to work, or not that we don't want to work, but what type of jobs are we qualified for? Mm. I'll pause there. So I have about 7 things I want to talk about. Um, but I see we have Tiana on the stage, and we'll bring her on stage. Do I see her?
Yeah, she's here.
Oh, there she go. Man, I'm having some issues over here.
Want to go first? Want to go first? Okay. All right. I'll go first. Hey, everybody. It's Naeem
Hey.
here.
Shalom, shalom.
Oh, hey, my brother.
Shalom. Shalom.
Hey, now
So yeah.
you look like Tiana.
I,
Right?
yeah. They say that about couples as you grow together.
That's my
No,
joke for you.
I think so. It's a couple interesting things in there. I don't think it's mostly a matter of not wanting to work. I think we all have had experiences, with either a parent in the home where they've had multiple jobs. We've seen them basically, even as a child, you may not barely see them because they work at three, four, five jobs to barely afford the small amount that may be there, right? I don't think it's a lack of willingness to want to learn work as a majority. I think more so working on the wrong things, right? If I'm trying to push the wheel uphill to make money and there's a way to push the wheel downhill to make money, I could spend 30, 40 hours, 70 hours a week trying to push it uphill, make very little money as compared to someone who's pushing it downhill. They'll make way more comparatively, right? So if you're working in fast food or in Walmart or in jobs that prioritize putting your time in for money as opposed to your ideas or your results in for money, it'll be much more difficult to get further as opposed to someone who can sell their imagination. So that's definitely one aspect. Something you said earlier about the blaming of slavery. Definitely don't think we can blame slavery. If I'm correct, like comparatively speaking, after slavery, not directly, but like during the times when racism was at its highest, right? When there was segregation and everything like that, comparatively speaking, as a medium income, black people like within society were doing better comparatively than today.
Hmm.
Also, in the 1800s, and this is something I found out recently. In the 1800s, there was this act that was in place where Chinese workers basically weren't allowed to come into the U.S. effectively, and so their work was literally limited. Right, they literally were not able to work. If you look at the Chinese right now, they have the highest average median house outcome within America, and they went through a very long period of time where their workers were being denied. Yet we don't see the Chinese to put it on. It's a large in part the things that we're working on are a large in part very low leverage things. We can work 90 hours a week, but if it's our income is solely tied to the time that we put in, it'll be very, very difficult to get very, very far. A lot of reasons we work low. I think that being promoted within those jobs is the best way to get higher or further, or that if we don't have a college education, it somehow limits you. This is just not this could not be further from the case specifically within the time that we're in now. A lot of people still have the mindset of like, you got to go to college to get a good job. You got to go to college to get a good job. That is so far from the truth, from specifically at bare minimum for the time that we live in now.
Hmm.
So a large and part of it is 100% lack of education. Another part is not implementing on the education that you have, and then
Now, what?
another huge part of it as well.
Hey, Naeem, when you say a lack of education, expound on that. What do you mean when what do you mean when you say a lack of education?
Yeah, because you
Awareness is
just said you
probably a
don't
better
have to
way of
go to
putting it than
college.
lack of education. Lack of
Yeah.
education, they think, right. Exactly. Most people hear lack of education, they think of higher education, four-year institution. No, lack of
Uh-huh.
awareness of resources and possibilities. There are skills. It is better to learn a skill and get leverage with the skill. You don't take you 4 years to learn a skill. You can
Hmm.
spend a set amount of hours working on a set of skill for a time, and immediately it will jump your tax bracket just by getting proficient within a skill. If
Hmm.
you learn something like construction or engineering or sales, and especially in the world today, there's a lot of different things you can learn when you get into AI or content creation stuff like that. But even more fundamental ones that are most people are used to, such as construction, cooking, doing hair, things like that. Learning a skill like that, and then learning how to build a business, a small business around that skill, will significantly increase your income as opposed to let me simply get hired by the person that's going to give me the highest dollar for the time. And a
Mhm.
lot of those opportunities are not based off of the skills that you have. They are more so based off of like, hey, are you able to do this task? And this is what we value the task at. And a lot of times they don't offer you more because it's that they don't offer you the ability to go much higher than that, is what I'm trying to say. So I think a better
Absolutely.
is lack of education, lack of awareness of what can be done.
Do you know there are a lot of millionaires don't even have high school diplomas.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
There are a lot of millionaires that don't have high school diplomas.
That's
And
what I
a lot
want.
of them don't have higher education either. So I
Mhm.
understand what you're saying, lack of education. A lot of us don't, a lot of our people now, we just want it right now because of our
Yeah.
situation. So
Mhm.
we'll take any job because of it's right now need. We
Yes,
never
sir.
build for the future. We don't have a mindset to build for the future. So that's a plague right there for a
Why is
lot of
that, you
us.
think?
It's the way we were raised, bro. It was the way we were
Mm.
raised. It was what we were taught, to be honest with you. We were taught to be workers. What is it? What was it? What is the famous statement by Rockefeller? He said, "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers."
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Rockefeller
Yep.
said that. That's the documented statement. I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers, because his thing was for everybody to work for them.
Mm.
It's certain things that we don't know, and the blacks the Israelites that do know it, and they don't know the Israelites, they're not going to share it without charging you out the wazoo. So we hold ourselves
Mm.
back too because we don't practice nepotism like the other nations do.
Yep.
Man,
Yep.
They
so
practice nepotism. So
so
skills are not passed down. Look at the Mexicans.
mm,
The Mexicans teach their kids the skills that they learn. They
mhm.
teach them skills that so they'll never be broke and they can always build. Then we're the type of people we don't want to build with each other because we want to outshine each other.
Mhm.
So anytime the information I come up that's going to enhance me, I'm gonna keep it to myself. Our thing is don't tell nobody that. We got to build ourselves. Don't tell nobody that. We say that to our children, to our
I,
kids, and
I,
our
I
kids
got
come up with that same mindset.
I
So
got
that's
mine.
why
You got to get
nepotism is
yours.
not practiced.
Hmm.
Exactly.
I think there's been a fundamental shift in the perspective of how, and this is my opinion, how we were manipulated with our own text. We know that the Father told us to be fruitful and multiply. And through religion, not that I'm pointing fingers, but reality is a reality. When we look at different ethnicities, to each of the brother on this panel's point, there was a structure where they taught, for lack of a better term, education, religion,
Hmm.
and they didn't convolute the both. So, in other words, they taught them mathematics, they taught them how to create income, they taught them the things that Suk is saying that we have a lack of understanding.
Hmm.
Flip side of that, they told them or they taught them have your, in a sense, ducks in a row first, then create a family. But when you look at
Facts.
our culture, because we were and we still are very emotional, um,
Yes, sir.
the scriptures were used against us from this perspective. Be fruitful and multiply. And it we have to go back to breaking of the instructions
Mm.
because we will wear it as a badge of honor to have children before we can even solidify an occupation.
Ooh, that's heavy right there,
So
bro.
now we
True.
got two, three, four children, many times outside of wedlock, that further sets us back because we'll use the
Mm.
scripture. He told us to be fruitful and multiply, but he also told us to be wise.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And because we have these kids, this is just one aspect. Because we have these children with no education, as Brother Naeem stated, have no skill. We don't know plumbing. We don't know HVAC. We don't have any type of skill.
Mm-hmm.
And the skill that we may have, braiding hair, doing nails, as Suka said, we become lazy with that. Um, who owns, how can I put this? I don't want to say whose fault, but when I look at the other ethnicities, when I look at the people from India, how they're doctors and they're this and they're that. And then when you look at our people,
Man,
we're not short of having children.
dance like crazy.
Let me read this. Let me read this real quick. I had this on the screen. Let me see if I can blow it up some. Let me see. Yeah, it's about as good I can get this. Um, so this is from Pew Research Center. Pew Research Center. It says the wealth gaps across racial and ethnic groups. The increase in the wealth of U.S. households from 2019 to 2021 was spread widely across racial and ethnic groups. Despite improved fortunes, Black, Hispanic, and multiracial households trailed white and Asian households by large margins from the following perspectives, both before and after the pandemic. Their wealth relative to the wealth of white and Asian households, the share of households that are in the middle or upper tiers of wealth, how wealth varies by race and ethnicity. Asian households overall had more wealth than other households 2 years since the start of the pandemic. In 2021, Asian households had a median net worth of 320,900 compared with 250,400 for white households. The median net worth of Hispanic households, 48,700, and Black households, 27,100, was much less. In dollar amounts, the wealth gap between white households and Black and Hispanic households increased from 2019 to 2021. For an example, in 2019, the typical white household had 168,800 more in wealth than the typical Hispanic household. This gap increased to 200,721. In percentage terms, Blacks 77%, Hispanic 42%, Asian 43%, and white 23% households all experienced strong gains in median wealth from 2019 to 2021. It says, what factors might explain the large wealth gaps across racial and ethnic groups? We'll come back to that. That's a good question I want to ask. With respect to Black households, evidence points to the role of slavery and post slavery practices, such as segregation, that created this desperate opportunities for wealth accumulation. For Hispanic households, the relative youth of the population and immigration status play a role. In turn, these factors likely contribute to the lower rates and sizes of inheritances received by Black and Hispanic households in comparison with white households. Asian households overall have more wealth than other households, partly because of the higher level of education among Asian adults. In 21, 61% of Asians ages 25 and older had a bachelor's degree or higher level education compared to 42% of white adults. As a result, the typical Asian household has a much higher income than other households, with more potential for building wealth. But the Asian American population is very diverse, and income varies widely across Asian origin groups. As shown in the following chapter, lower income Asian households had less wealth than lower income white households in 21. The wealth of white households relative to the wealth of other households. And this will be the last. And I want to read this little chart in a second. In 2021, the typical white household had 9.2 times as much wealth as a typical black household, 250,400 versus 27,100. This ratio stood at 13.3 in 2019 prior to the onset of the pandemic. White households also have significantly more wealth than Hispanic households, 5.1 times, and multiracial households, 3 times in 21. But the median wealth of white households was about 20% less than that of Asian households. The wealth gaps between white households and black and Hispanic households in 2019 and 2021 are on the line of recent history. But the apparent shrinking of racial and ethnic wealth gaps during the pandemic stands in contrast with what happened during the Great Recession of 2007 through 2009. I'll hold it right there. What do you guys say to this?
I say it's a lot of. Let's look at it like this: the reason these medium households are different is because a lot of families were taught numbers. They were taught how to build wealth. Our people, my father never sat me down and said, "Get it. This is how you build credit." But I was always taught you got to have a trade or you got to have a job, either or. We were never taught principles. Certain households and certain cultures were taught principles how to build, how to do it, how to strategically build wealth and pass it on. How to do this. This is where you get the waterfall method from the Rockefellers, which was never taught. That method didn't come out to what, 3 years ago. That was held a secret for years. They the ones that started the life insurance industry. And they hid information. It's a lot of information that was never given to us. Go back to slavery days. A lot of stuff we were never taught. We were still waiting on 40 acres and a mule. And some people had to come out and just say, we're gonna do it this way and we're gonna get it. And this is how we're gonna do it.
So, what that was then, right? Education and knowledge is pretty prevalent today. Is there some reasons why we can't bridge that gap today? I can
Mindset.
understand. I can understand way back when they weren't allowed to read, they weren't allowed to learn per se. But we live in a different time when we have things afforded to us.
Mm, Yeah, I think it's generational trauma. I think that a lot of times I agree and I disagree. I It
Put this
deeply
on.
bothers me that
My
people
bad.
today are still kind of holding to the idea that there is systemic racism and that
Mhm.
people are holding black people back. That could be farther from the truth, but we do have to hold space for 400 years of slavery and what that has done to generations after
It's
that,
way back this way.
because it's more so the mind. It's more
Mhm.
so the mind than any other thing. And when
Is, did
we
she
were
steal my
for
chair?
so long,
Huh?
we were just taught to have this mindset of you know this master slave mindset. Even afterwards, when we were released, when the slaves were freed during the Reconstruction era, the slaves were freed and they didn't know how to read. The slaves were
Mhm.
freed and they didn't have a culture. They didn't have their own language, and they also didn't have a mind and a will to do anything that our counterparts, our white counterparts, were doing. And so what happened was we got immediately thrust into sharecropping, which is slavery with
Mhm.
pay. And we still kind of see that happening even today, where we're seeing white people build these empires, these businesses, and we're coming up under them more so than we are building our own. And I think when you have something as traumatic as the period of slavery and even afterwards, you have to make it like a goal individually to renew your mind, because we have a people with a victim mentality. We have a people where I don't want to say lazy, but there's not much will to go out and do what we should be doing, which is making our own. We rather, fight amongst each other, which this is all that you have seen during slavery. Slavery wasn't just this sloppily put together. This was a systematic thing to break down the black man and the black woman, and to break down their mind, to break down their very soul. There were books written on it of buck breaking and stuff like that, of psychological methods to keep us perpetually in this state, because the evil of it was this: one day we may not be able to do this, and it's not because this is a immoral thing. It's because the economy won't be good for it anymore, but we want to always keep them in this mindset. And so the way to do that, even after this ends, because I believe something so evil as that, they're thinking, 3 and 5 steps ahead, is to break down their mind and make them believe that they will always be under us, that race will always play a factor, and that they'll never be able to get ahead. And if you have somebody's mind, it doesn't matter how many, like, not to, just kind of push aside the atrocities of slavery. Um, but I think when you break somebody's mind, when you really are able to get in someone's mind, you have them. And I think that generational trauma has us now, even in this era where there's more opportunity than there's ever been, still um, kind of in that gap, and not really knowing how to bridge it.
Let me ask you this, Sister Tiana. With the breaking of the mind, cannot, will not push back. That is a fact, and that's a reality that has happened to our people. But where do we draw that reality line? That was a reality, but Christ is supposed to be he's supposed to be that one that reverses that curse, right?
Like,
Did I
I
lose it?
yeah, agree. Um, and I think that's why it's like more so it's
You sound,
individualistic.
is it just me or does she sound choppy?
Yeah, she sound robotic.
Okay. Can you go out and come back in?
Yeah,
Okay. So while we're waiting on her, um, I agree of the uh
Yeah, yeah.
I agree with the slavery portion of it. Um, but when we talk about Christ coming and Christ um reversing the curse, how does he factor into what what the reality was? Where does his change happens for us, if I'm making sense?
No, I understand what you're saying. You're saying how does he help us change?
Right. How do we go from that slave mentality
No, I understand what you're
to
saying. You're
now
saying how does
Christ?
us change? Mute yourself, y'all. Mute yourself, Tiana.
How do we go from the slave mentality to now believing in Christ and still having that same slave mentality? For the general public of Israel or the black community that don't know Christ, I can understand that. But for those that, whether they be Christian or whatever, why are we still walking as though we had that slave mindset. Go ahead, Sister Tiana.
I definitely think it's because not only did they take away, education and opportunity from us, but they also took away our faith and our religion, and they twisted it. And I think with that, I think for a lot of Black individuals, there's a disconnect, sadly, with the Bible because of the way that the Bible has been taught. And I think the only way that people will then begin to kind of break out of this mold of what we have been seeing with Black individuals and like their minds and their mindset and the way that they go about things is coming into the full truth and the full knowledge of Yahushua HaMashiach. That is the only way, because even in Christianity, it is tainted, if I could say that, like it's tainted by the effects of slavery and what it did. It was used systematically against us as well. The Bible and the idea of Jesus being white, and it's just we have no grit. We don't really have any resilience in the sense that we don't look at ourselves and love ourselves. We look at ourselves and think, how can we be this person and this nation and this nation? And even unfortunately, through the Bible, the way they twisted it, they showed us how to kind of adopt that mindset as well. And I think coming into the full knowledge and the full truth of Yahushua HaMashiach is the only way that we can begin to break from these mindsets. And anything else really, I think, is just a farce, unfortunately. Like, especially, I remember like being in Christianity and still kind of like, feeling like, okay, I found this beautiful thing. Like I'm saved through Christ, all the jargon that they have us use, but still kind of feeling like, well, where is my place? I don't know where I really belong, because I'm a Black American. I live in America, but I'm looking around, and everyone has an origin. And when you are in Christianity and you believe that the the Caucasian Jew is the true people and you are the Gentile, I think that even more so, um, kind of just breaks down your identity, to say. And so we had that mindset for the longest time that the Caucasian Jew were the true people of the Bible, and we were the Gentile grafted in. And I think it only speaks to the narrative that we're not really wanted, and we're just kind of grouped in, if that makes sense.
God, that makes sense, sis.
It does. It does. I do have something to add to that. Sister Mary, I thought I saw Sister Tasha. What happened?
She went out.
Oh,
Yes.
go ahead, Sister Mary.
Sister Mary, it's on
Um,
you, sis.
yeah. I just wanted to say I agree with Sister Tiana what she's saying. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sis.
Yes, yes, we hear you. You're on
But
mute. Okay.
okay, okay. Um, I agree with her. I mean, slavery did play. Uh, Slavery did play a big part. It's like I have an echo. So hold on one second. Let
Okay.
me.
What happened to Malaysia? Who booted her out? You booted her out, Soup?
Shalom, shalom.
Okay.
Did you boot her out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Shalom. Can you hear me? Is that better?
Yeah, you were fine though. Not you were fine.
Oh, okay. Because I
Luckily,
felt
you
like I was getting an echo.
mm-mm. I didn't hear no echo.
I
Okay.
can't hear you now, Sister Mary. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I was saying is I agree with Sister Tiana. Slavery did play a big part. Ah, okay.
You got your TV on and your computer.
Yes, and I'm hearing an echo. I'm trying to fix it.
Turn if you have your TV on, turn your mute your TV.
Okay. So okay, I did. Let Sister Tasha go. I'm gonna try and fix it.
Okay, go ahead, Sister Tasha.
I did. Let Sister Tasha go. I'm gonna.
Hey, shalom, everyone. So I don't know what's going on with the internet this evening, but mine's
Mm-hmm.
acting a little janky as well. But I just wanted to say I do agree with Sister Tiana as well. She brought a lot of meat to the whole dialogue, her and Naeem. Um, I feel that today, from my perspective, what I see on my end with people around me and with my job, we have a busy season. Our busy season is during tax season. So we hire temps every year for the last 8 years that I've been with this company. And it is so hard for us to find workers, to find good, solid workers. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I made the statement that people are lazy because of the C-19 pandemic. Um, we will get them on in the in the beginning of the project. Once they get their bonuses they bounce.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I state that. And then if you also think and reflect back, there was a time even after once the pandemic started to die down some. Just remember, like when we used to go to restaurants, the wait was so much longer
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't have workers because of the all of the benefits that came with that whole era. So I still see that some the quality of workers or just the lack of workers um in society period. I do believe that our history has a lot to do with who we are as a people today still. Self-image plays a big part as well as mindset. I make a joke sometimes when I speak to people throughout the day or texting, and they may say, "Hey, what you doing?" I'm like, "I'm on the plantation. What about you?" I
Mm-hmm.
remember saying that to my son one day, who's 20, and we were having a conversation. I was like, "Well, son, back to the plantation I go." I said, "Well, you enjoy the rest of your day in the field." He was like, "Mom," he was like, "It's all on how you see it." And I said, and it made me stop and think, like, he's telling me, spitting me some jewels of wisdom. And he meant it. He was like, man, mama, he was like, it's all on how you see it, how you look at it. So he
Mm-hmm.
don't even look at it that way because even though he's working for corporate America, y'all hear that country come out? Even though he's working for corporate America, he still has two lines of business that he's building up off the ground as well because he's been saying since he was 13 years old, he's a boss. He's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
working for nobody. So once again, I still say that what Sister Tiana said was a bunch of meat, but it goes back to how we look at ourselves. And if you see yourself as that slave still, then that's the result you're going to get from
Mm-hmm.
it. I don't say I'm on the plantation too much anymore. It slip out sometimes because I'm silly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But,
Mm-hmm.
when my son said that to me, it was very profound when he said that to me. He don't even realize what he spoke to me. But I
Mm-hmm.
look at things a little bit different as well. So, yeah.
It's nice.
Hey, Shawnee,
There's
real
two.
quick.
There, there's. What'd you say, Sue?
And I just want to say something real quick.
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
When we talk about education, I wanted to go back to this point. I told my son, he goes Hudson Tillotson University up in Austin. He just went back today, but I told him, I said, listen, man, I said, this is just from my observation. I'm not telling nobody else. This is what I spoke to my son. Because like I told my wife when I told Linda when she was going for her degree in business administration, I said, this we know already.
Mm,
This is teaching us to work for someone else when we talk about a bachelor's in business administration or business
mhm,
management. This is teaching us to work for someone else. I said, we're entrepreneurs. I told my son, I said, listen, that degree to me, it's not worth the paper it's written on. I said, but
mm,
you up there with a school that specializes in engineering. I said, with a trade, like with engineering as a trade, where it's
mhm,
mechanical or various others, you have a lifeline in a sense. You have something that you can build for yourself, or you can
mhm,
gain wealth working with somebody else. I
mhm.
said we have to position ourselves differently because some of us think education. Okay, let me just go grab a degree. But what
Right,
is that degree? Is that degree going to service you right?
right.
Is it really going to do what it needs to do? Because listen, think about it. Why did they take all the trades from us?
Hmm. You remember
I
there's a
don't.
time. You remember there was a time in when you were in high school when you
Yes,
could have went to like lumber school,
Shop
I mean
class.
wood shop.
shop class.
That's what I
Yeah,
was
Yeah,
gonna say. Yeah, shop
yeah.
class, home ec, sewing,
Yep, yep,
all of that when
everything.
I was in
yep,
school,
yep.
and
They
they
took.
just took it out.
They took it
They
out
knew what they were
Yeah,
doing.
and then
they
told you to
That's
go
what we
knew.
to
were
and told you
building.
to go to school
They
They
want you
told
to
you to
go
go
to
to school.
college so
and
they can
create debt
indoctrinate you more.
and
Listen,
That's
create
what it
that
is.
debt and create
my
that
Yeah.
debt.
homeboy, I get it's a true story. My
Mhm,
homeboy, Big Rob, he went to the University of Colorado, came home with a degree. And at the time, I was still hustling on the streets doing what I was doing. Big Rob, we all looked up to Big Rob. Big Rob went to college, yeah, big. So when Big Rob came home, the first 90 days, Big Rob couldn't get a job with that fresh degree.
mm,
You know what Big Rob was back after 90 days?
mm,
In front of his mama house serving
mm,
with a degree, 4 years with a degree. And I'm not knocking education, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying this is what
mhm,
happened to some people.
mhm.
And I believe it could be just saying we went to school to get a degree, but not really what's going to benefit us down the long run.
Right.
Mhm.
What
So
is it going to benefit us?
yeah.
That's why I think like what I was saying, like coming into the full truth and knowledge of the Mashiach is so important because when we abide by his laws, the Most High puts us in places and he gives us opportunity to advance and to propel forward than someone with 3 degrees. And I know personally, I've seen this myself. And when Sister Tasha was talking about how her son, he has his job, but he also has a business, I'm in the same kind of predicament where I'm using my job to fuel the business that I have. So I'm a postpartum doula, and I care for women's babies after the fourth trimester. And a lot of times I had that kind of mindset about a 9 to 5. But what I had to realize was, because there's a couple times I tried to on my own establish something, um and it kind of went left. And so what I had to realize was that I need, I do need knowledge, I do need wisdom, but more than that, I need the favor of the Most High. And so when I got into the job I'm in now, so I'm an HR director at a home care company. I started out as a staffing coordinator under the HR director that was fired. And I remember coming into this job because before I wasn't working because I was with my babies and I was really worried about going back into work. But I told the Most High, I said, when I go into this job, I'm going to make sure that whatever I do it unto you. And so there was a lot of mess happening at the job. There was a lot of gossiping and all that stuff. The women there were they were very brutal. Um, but I made sure to, I would recite scripture, I would pray. I just made sure to focus on the Most High. And the HR director at the time that I was under, she was causing a lot of discord. You could tell like immediately there was there was spiritual warfare there. And what ended up happening was she got fired and they elevated me into that position. I don't have any degree. I don't have any degree. But I remember praying the night before they made that decision. I remember praying and I remember saying to the Most High, Lord, if you elevate me into this position, because I was making sure that I was doing everything that God had wanted me to do that was in his word, not fall into the gossip and just causing discord at the job. And I made sure to let him know that just to call on his help and his wisdom to lead those people of that organization like Solomon led the people of Israel. And they called me in and I'm 26 years old. And these men that I work for, they're in their 60s. The HR director before me, she had 20 years of HR experience, 20 years of it. She had 2 degrees and she was a paralegal. I don't have a degree to my name. And I was elevated into that position by the grace of the Most High and the favor of the Most High. And in this position, I work very closely with the CEOs of the company. And in working very closely with them, I'm able to see something no college student is able to see in a business administration degree. I'm able to see how a business is looked at, how it's thought about, and how um, they go about doing that day to day. And I say all that just to say, Yah is amazing. And when we begin to move in the ways that He wants us to move, He honors that. And that's what sets us apart from those other nations. And so, because those other nations, they have things to pass down to their children and their children's children. That's why I think that the only way this could work, where we can come out of this state of financial ruin and just this kind of debilitating mindset of where we don't believe in ourselves, is to come back under our culture. And our culture is directly aligned with our religion. And our religion is the faith and of the Most High Yah.
Beautiful.
Hallelujah. That's
Hallelujah.
awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes. But what I wanted to say was, I agree with what Sister Tiana was saying and Suka, about the school, work to school. I mean, school to work program. What Rockefeller said about, he want a nation of workers and not a nation of thinking, because when you start thinking outside the box, then you step back and you're like on the outside looking in, you can see the ruins and the turmoil that you're in. Um, so I just believe that slavery did play a big part, and the main thing it played a big part on is our psyche and our mind. But in order to get out of that, our foundation is the word. And the word teaches us, to lean on the Most High, to seek Him first, and all those things will be added unto you. Um, Also, uh, education just doesn't start at these schools. These schools are indoctrinating our children. um, it just doesn't start there. I believe education starts in the home, and we have to take responsibility and educate our children, not just with the books and the things that they're learning in these high schools, elementary schools, middle schools, colleges, because my oldest daughter, she has a degree as well, and my second daughter, she's getting ready to start school in the fall. Um, and but I before she went, I mean, I think I made a mistake. My daughter, she has a degree, she does well for herself, but um, she says she could have retained more if she would have took maybe a year off or 2 years off just to get some experience in the world and then went to school. And so she could be doing a little better than what she's doing, but um, and that's why my second daughter is starting school now after being out for a few years. But my thing is we have to start educating our children on finances and how to manage, money and bank accounts and all of those things. I wasn't taught a lot at home, but I learned being a wife. When I was married, I learned how to do those things. I read books, I educated myself, and I continue to do that because at my age, I should be doing a lot more than what I'm doing if I would have started a long time ago. Now, with the knowledge that I have today, I'm working towards that. But a lot of this whole system was set up for us to fail. It wasn't designed for us to have anything really. And as far as working for these jobs and having a 9 to 5 and people not wanting to work, during the pandemic, people woke up. 2019, people started waking up and started seeing what the system is really all about. Um, like I said, before in one of our meetings, I said that we're paying ourselves. We're working basically for free, and a lot of people are waking up to that. I don't think it's lazy. I think it's tired and fed up because I'm tired and fed up, knowing what I know. And I'm trying to make it right. I'm trying to find a different way to get what we're supposed to have, and so that we can help each other as a nation. I believe in each one teach one, and so I'm trying to do my due diligence so that I can help us. When as I'm studying these things that I'm studying, the book of Proverbs has really helped me, especially Proverbs chapter 6. Proverbs 1-6, 1-5. It says, my son, if you have, this is the NIV, if you have put security, if you look at the word security and break it down, you'll see what it is, what it really means for you or for your neighbor. If you have shaken hands in pledge, we pledged ourselves. Just like, a Deuteronomy says that we're going to sell ourselves. And that's basically what we did. We sold ourselves into a system that is designed to keep us down and keep everyone else on top of us. I mean, because every other nation that comes over here, they go above us. And they get these 7-Eleven stores, they get these little gas stations, they get everything. And we're still, and it's basically handed to them. They get the Africans, they come over here, they tell them, don't mess with the African Americans, they're this, they're that. I mean, so this was something that we did basically to ourselves by going against the Most High. I mean, we have to, but now is the time, to, we have to take our wealth back. Let me finish reading this. It says, if you have shaken hands in pledge for a stranger, which is our jobs, you have been trapped by what you said, ensnared by the words of your mouth. So do this, my son, to free yourself. Go and humble yourself. Press your plea with your neighbor. Allow no sleep to your eyes, no slumber to your eyelids. Free yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the snare of the fowler. So when I read this, to me, it tells me, do what you need to do, educate yourself, put your hands to work, and he will bless them. You need the favor of the Most High, because this is spiritual. We're living in a spiritual battle. But with every card that we have, you have your driver's license, you have your social security card, you have all these different cards, library cards. our social security card was our first credit card. It was our first credit card. Everything you sign on and everything that put your signature on, anything that you give your social security number, your car, your home, your rental, whatever you're doing, you already paid for it. And that's the trickery that they have us in. And I'm seeing this, and a lot of people are waking up to this. And that's why people don't want to work, because they're being played. And so that's why a lot of people are not working. And I don't think it has anything to do with laziness. They'd rather do this and free themselves from the tyranny.
Now, I think some of that is laziness, though.
Yeah, some of them are
Um,
lazy. Yeah.
I'll say this, and I'm gonna start wrapping it up. But I'll say this: the scripture says that Moses was taught in all the ways of the Egyptians. So you have the father watching Moses be taught in all the ways of the Egyptians, even to the understanding of the Egyptian gods. Romans 8:28 says, "For we know that all things work together for our good to them that love the Most High and are called according to his purpose." No matter what plight you're in, going back to what Sister Tiana said, at the end of the day, if our ways please him, he says that he can set a table in the presence of our enemies. Now, that's saying a lot for us who are not in our own homeland, but we are in whatever country you're in, that is spiritually, technically, your enemy's land. And the fact that you can get a job, the fact that you can get an apartment, the fact that you can get a vehicle, the fact that you can go to a grocery store and eat, that is the Most High showing you that he's placing you at a table. Because those nations, if it were in their power and in their authority, I believe they wouldn't do those things. So the fact that we can do those things, I say Moses was raised in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. And the Most High was able to use that to conquer the Egyptians. So whatever game the government is playing, when my ways please the Most High, when I do what is right in his sight, going back to what Sister Tiana said, I have no degree. I'm talking with men 60 years and plus year old, and I'm where they are simply because I submitted myself to the Most High, and he made a table for me to sit at in the presence of my enemies. So for you, Sister Mary, what I don't want you to do is get stressed out over the game. Because I can hear frustration in your voice or anger in your voice. I want you to kind of relax a little bit.
It, it I understand what you're saying, and I just see the state of our people, and it just kind of angers me. You
Remember
know.
this.
Mhm.
Remember this. You're always going to have the scripture is plain. Israel is a rebellious and a stiff necked people.
Yes.
And you're going to have Israelites that are going to do it their way. So Paul said it best in Romans, I believe it's Romans 10. He said they're zealous without knowledge. So what kind of keeps me going is the fact that Moses was reared in the Egyptian education system. He was reared in the religious system. He was reared in all the ways of the Egyptians, pagans, heathens, and the Most High still used him and took that knowledge that he knew and used it against them. So before we go, I heard someone say There are two types of people: people that spend and people that invest. I heard someone say something about we got to teach about money. I want to encourage us this on this in this class. I want to encourage us to a couple of things. Pay attention to what you're spending your money on. Um, don't spend more than you make. Try to get out of the rat race because here in America, we're geared and taught what success is and what it looks like. Then we move according to what society says success looks like. And then when we're now walking in what this culture says success looks like, then we say, I'm poor, I don't have anything. And then that carries on a whole different spirit and mindset. So let us learn what true value is, what true riches are. Um, be wise with your money. Learn how money works. Don't spend more than you make. And what else I was going to say about that? Oh, somebody mentioned about the pandemic. It's geared to finding ways to take your money, to take our money. What do I mean? Prior to the pandemic, whether I felt like it or I did not feel like it, and I had to go to the store, I got in my vehicle and I went to the store. After the pandemic, they taught us another way to lead us into being lazy. And in the process of us being lazy, they learn how to extract more money from us. What do I mean? Now I'll have my food delivered. Okay, you're going to pay for groceries regardless if you went to the store or not. But because I don't feel like going, now there's a delivery charge. There was a time when you went to the store. What am I saying this for? I want us to be more conscious or to start thinking like how they think in terms of money, creating opportunities to make money.
If it's okay, Moray, if I
Yes, sir. Go
may
ahead.
encourage one thing, in terms of our mindset about money, it's so warped, like to the point where when we do have a service that's valuable, when we do have something that's good to give, we give it away for free, right? We give every black person the black person discount and we'll do it for free. We think if we charge them, it's wrong. Or sometimes you take it in the other direction. We start overcharging for poor quality service, and I definitely encourage everyone with that. And that one thing I think is amazing about my wife is that whenever there's a service we need, if we need someone to look after our kids, whatever it might be, if there's a family member involved, she will always pay that family member to do it. She never wants the family member to perceive that they're being taken advantage of, and she's paying for a service to be done well. And we have a really bad mindset of not wanting to spend for doing something good or doing something the right way, or if we have something of valuable, not charging it to family members or whatever the case may be. And
Excellent
that's
point.
something that needs to severely break in the land of Egypt. To go with your point about with Moses being in Moses learning the Egyptian ways, we saw the same thing with David when he went to the Philistines, and the same thing with Joseph when he went into Egypt himself.
Hmm.
When he was Zaphnath-Paneah, when he was second in command in Egypt, and he knew this famine was coming, and he prepared, and everybody, he didn't give that food away for free. He sold it to the people.
Mhm.
Understand this. You are going to die if you don't pay for this food. So he sold it. Then, when they ran out of money because they couldn't do their job because it was a famine, then they had to sell their cattle, then their land, then themselves. We
Yep.
would think that's satanic. Having something of valuable and not giving it away for free. And we have that mindset, oh wow, they're not giving it away for free because we want everything for free. This goes back to the laziness. It just keeps going back and back and back. Money, according to the Most High, and resources, we were put here to be a light on the hill for people. We are not supposed to be a nation that is asking for handouts. We are supposed to be lending.
Yep.
That is where we're supposed to be. And having a mindset around abundance and around selling things is a good thing. And I'm not supposed to always ask for handouts. It's good that I pay people for a job well done.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Be more enter that mindset of giving and having services that are valuable and being prideful and not prideful, but joyous in the fact that I have something to give that's of value. And money isn't an evil thing or, how
Mhm.
that mindset, that lazy, not producing, always taking mindset.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
And
Beautiful.
I say money is only evil when it's in the hands of evil people. So
It's beautiful.
Check out Tobit, the first chapter, and you'll see how Tobit spent his money. You then go to the fourth chapter, and he tells you about how to give money. Great nuggets right there.
Well, we appreciate all the feedback.
Did you
We
hear me?
thought this was a real good topic. What'd you say, Sue?
No, I made a comment. Y'all didn't hear
Oh,
me? Oh, Lord.
yeah, we heard you about the Tobit.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Oh yeah, yeah. We heard you. They can definitely go back and read Tobit. Um, yeah, we appreciate the feedback. We appreciate everyone that came on stage. Um, thought this was a good topic to discuss, considering it affects our people. Um, hopefully, some things were said that we can go and do a little more research and even look at our own lives to see how we can better ourselves and the next generation. Um, anything else before we go? Anything else before we go? We appreciate again everyone's participation. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow in class. Hopefully, I won't have any more internet issues. Um, that's it. We love you all. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Shalom.
Shalom.